Bionic Commando was released by Capcom in the arcade in 1987, serving as the sequel to Commando. It would be ported to several consoles, but the version I'll be talking about is the NES version that came out in 1988. It's based off the original arcade game, but not an exact port. You play as an unnamed hero, for now, who is sent on a mission to rescue Super Joe, who was sent on his own mission and went missing. His mission was to stop the dictator, Generalissimo Kilt, who is attempting to resurrect the old plans of his militant group called the Bads, into the development of a destructive weapon called Albatross. If you're thinking this looks a lot like Nazis, you would be right. The Famicom version in Japan just straight up used the former Allies as the villains of this game. When it was localized across the bay, all Nazi propaganda was altered, which I know would have received some backlash for including swastikas in an NES game, but I mean, come on, these are your enemies. It really waters things down to call the Nazis the Bads, and it makes it way less satisfying to kill the motherfuckers. But as it is, these Bads are rising in numbers enough to do some damage in the year 1980X. To stop them once and for all, you must traverse through a variety of areas as laid out by your map, which you can transfer from one to the other at your leisure. So can you go through the game's stages in any order that you choose? Yes and no. There are several stages that you can't access right away and need to accomplish a goal of some kind in a previous stage. Also, you pick up clues along the way via the communication rooms. When you get in here, you'll get messages from your comrades as well as the enemies when you intercept their calls. This will only work if you bring the right communicator to the stage. You'll get a menu at the beginning of each stage where you select the items and weapons that you want. So if you bring the wrong communicator, you get nothing but gibberish. And while this isn't always the end of the world, you often need to communicate to open up certain areas or get clues for the game, like which communicator works for a certain area, for example. It's really useful to know that, because if you arrive with the wrong communicator, you'll need to go back and start the stage again. And thankfully you can exit the stage back to the map screen manually by pressing A, B, and start, something that the manual really should have explained. In any event, you're going to want to more or less go in the order that the map presents itself anyway. Your path may also be interrupted by these enemy vehicles that pass by. If they cross paths with you, then you have to complete a mini stage of clearing an area of enemies which has a top-down view, which is a callback to Commando. As far as the rest of the game is concerned, it's a 2D run-and-gun platformer, but here's the kicker: you can't jump, which is fucking weird in a platformer, but that's exactly what this is. Instead of jumping, you'll use a grappling gun to hook onto platforms and ceilings and pull yourself up to another level, or swing your way across pits and gaps in the floor. You can shoot this sucker straight up, diagonally, or straight forward. You can also use this hook to grab items, or in some rare cases, attack. Your main weapon is gonna be the gun, which you can find upgrades for along the way, as well as other items like armor and health boosts. You start out the game with just one hit point and collect these bullets that are left behind by fallen enemies, or they're just laying around in some cases. These will increase that maximum health. You start out only needing 5 of these to increase your max, but that number increases exponentially each time you hit a milestone. Aside from the main areas, you've also got neutral zones, which are marked as red, and their numbers range from 13 to 19, while the main areas are 1 through 12. The reason for their random sequence is beyond me. These neutral zones are just that, neutral. You'll see enemies and friends alike. It may be tense, as indicated by some of the dialogue, but it's also non-violent, until you start shooting, and then you'll get swarmed. The point of these neutral sites is usually to gather some items or intel. While a game like this is usually pretty straightforward, run, jump, shoot, and within a couple of minutes you pretty much have the feel for the game down, Bionic Commando, however, isn't like this at all. The lack of the ability to jump, along with the grappling hook being a vital mechanic in the game, gives this game a bit of a learning curve. Using the hook definitely doesn't come natural in a game like this. It takes some time to get comfortable using it, especially with enemies being present at the same time, and you naturally want to be jumping. So there's a lot of adjustments you have to make. But once you get past that, and you really shouldn't get frustrated with it early, because the game, while it is difficult, it is also pretty generous early on in the game. So you should be able to get the hang of it, and then come to appreciate this game for its unique functionality. And this is the kind of game that could have easily just been another shooter. Instead, it stands way out as its own thing. Add into that a solid soundtrack, and you've got one of the better games that the NES has to offer. Now in the walkthrough, I'm not going to be mentioning specific spots when you run into the enemy vehicles, because it could differ depending on which route you take. There are a few optional routes. But whenever you get into these, it's more or less the same. Bring the best weapon you have, shoot everything that's in front of you, and focus on getting to the end. You don't have to kill everyone. So the game starts off with a communication from your command, who brief you on your mission to rescue Super Joe. You start off at Area 0, which is just a starting point. You can't land there. Head over to Area 1 and descend. You won't get any choices as far as weapons or items go, just your standard gun and the red communicator. Head to the right and swing your way up here when this soldier is facing the other way and wipe him out. He'll fire an occasional shot, which you can duck under, and he'll jump down to you if you wait too long, so don't stay on the same vertical level as him. And it can actually be a safer bet to just wait for him to do this and pick him off on the way down. Continue to ascend and you'll reach this door to the communication room, where you'll be informed about the gist of these rooms, and by the wiretap you'll hear a Nazi baddie warn his commander about the elevator. Leave, drop back down, and swing yourself across this thing, because there's a body of water blocking your way on the ground level. You'll come across these guys with longer guns that fire more bullets at a time than the previous blokes, and they use the barrels for cover. So duck down when they shoot, and wait for them to emerge before firing. Use this chunk of the platform to scale up. The barrels will block you otherwise, so hit it from a diagonal and slip behind this prick. Keep going and you'll get to a door to the inside of this building. Take the elevator down 2 floors, enter the door, and you'll get a message that you might be able to find a weapon at the arsenal at Area 4. And by wiretap, the commander will tell his minion to bring a flare gun to Area 4. Head back out, swing across to the platform on the opposite side, and lift yourself up to the ceiling to shoot down this electric barrier. Swing your way up this way, and scale your way all the way up, kill these pricks on your way to the left, swing your way across, and lift yourself up and take out the electric beam. Also keep your eye on these parachutes that drop items throughout the game. They won't always be the same thing. Watch out for the bomb this dickhead throws, and shortly after that is the boss. The commander dickhead from earlier directs traffic of a bunch of his subordinates that come parachuting in from the ceiling. They'll descend on you from above. Kill all the ones on your level, and once the coast is clear, head up to the center. You can kill the commander, but it doesn't stop the barrage of enemies, so just take out the main system on the far right, because that's the objective. Once it's destroyed, all the enemies disappear, the level is completed, and you'll get some energy recovery pills. Now go to Area 13, which is a neutral site, as this guy will tell you. Like I said before, if you fire off at any point, a bunch of guys will attack you. You can fend them off, but there's never a good reason to do this. There's 0 to gain from it, so be cool when you're in these neutral zones. This enemy soldier talks some trash, and a fellow colleague says he's never heard of Super Joe, so not much help here. Go into the first door and grab the bullet. These small rooms are pretty much the main fixture of these neutral zones. Swing upward so you can get over the water, and outside to the next room, this guy tells you that they prepared flare bombs for you, which you'll need in Area 4. So head into the next door, grab the flare bombs with your grappling hook, leave and exit the area up ahead to get back to the map. Now traverse to Area 4 and make sure you bring the flare bomb. Everything will go dark in here once you enter the cave, so use the flare bomb by pressing start to shed a little light. Swing across the ceiling and blast this guy as soon as you land down here. Keep swinging, take out the guy behind the barrel, sling yourself up here and enter the immediate door for a message letting you know that this communicator works in areas 1, 4, and 5. Although you've now used 2 out of 3 already, still good to know. By wiretapping, you'll get a message, presumably from a POW, advising you to get behind him. Wonder what that could mean. Head up and follow the linear path, bang a right at the fork, the left side is a dead end. Swing across the ceiling. If you fall, try to land on one of the platforms, because there are a couple of batches of spikes on the floor. Go to the upper right hand corner of this area. If you try to swing across from this angle, you'll bounce off the wall and go nowhere. So swing from this platform instead, and let yourself go on the way over so you swing right onto the platform. Right after that is the door to the boss, this mustache dude. He has a big ass shield which makes it impossible to hit him head on, so you'll want to sneak behind him as your teammate advised earlier. You'll need to use the upper platforms as a way to get past him and sneak behind him. Problem is, he has his own grappling hook that fires straight up and will usually tag you. And if you take the upper platform, it'll take too long to get behind him before he turns around. You can swing into him and stun him for a bit and then try your luck, or you can just skip the bullshit and blast the main system, which by the way is the main objective of just about all of these boss battles. I prefer the latter strategy in this case myself. Once you're done, you'll get the wide cannon, which is an upgrade, especially in the areas where you encounter enemies. The spread shot helps quite a bit. Now head over to neutral area 15, same shit as before, don't be an asshole and mind your P's and Q's no matter what these dickheads have to say, one of which is General Kilt himself. Shooting him won't accomplish your mission, you'll just get attacked by a bunch of baddies. Enter the first door for an extra life, head back, go up and shoot down the barrier to get by. This guy lets you know that Super Joe is a POW in area 7. In the next door is the yellow communicator. Use the moving platform to swing your way up here for it, head back out, and exit the area right after. Head to area 5 next, and bring the wide cannon and still the red communicator. After killing this guy, swing your way up, and you're going to be scrolling vertically all throughout this stage. Head up a level and try to sneak behind the enemies and kill them from behind. Otherwise, wait for an opening and crouch down once you get up so you can time your kill. Watch out for these swinging balls too. Be ready to lift yourself up as soon as you see one. When you ascend to these posts, you'll slide off the edge, so make your move quick when you get on them. Enter the first door and you'll get a message from your brethren saying that they've found an underground passage that isn't on the map. The wiretapping will play back someone waking up by somebody else, confusing them. This is probably either a POW or an enemy that could hear you tapping into their line. When you leave and continue upward, you'll encounter these copter guys and lasers shooting horizontally from the ceiling. This is where the wide cannon comes in handy. Line yourself up and blast them. Don't get directly underneath them because they'll fire these electroshock waves straight down. And you'll want to be diagonally down from them anyway, so just position yourself appropriately. After some more climbing, you'll get to the next door and you'll get a message from a spy that tells you Super Joe was taken to Area 8. And by wiretap, you'll hear the enemy mention that the rocket launcher is good to go. Watch out for these pricks from above as you ascend, wait for one to drop at the area you want to land on, and then ascend after it's clear. You'll soon reach the door, and you'll fight this massive gun that serves as the security system for the room. Weave your way between its 3-bullet spread shot, slip underneath it, and shoot it from behind. Just spam attack until it's destroyed, and then do the same to the main system, and you'll get the rocket launcher on your way out, which fires a massive shot that does some good damage. Now swing your way over to Neutral Zone 16. You know the drill here. Enter the first door, where a green communicator awaits you. Before climbing up here, let this robot gun thing pass by you. Then head up, but don't bother with this room. You have to risk your life by climbing up here just for this douche nozzle to tell you to use precaution. Oh, the irony. Instead, let this thing pass by you and then head out. Now on to Area 2. Bring the rocket launcher and the green communicator. You land on this building, wait for this madman to give you some space before slipping down to kill him, and then head into this building. These globs of slime will pour out of the pipes in the wall, and if you get caught up underneath it, it'll carry you. So grab a platform if this happens. You don't want to fall down here. Scale your way up here, get in front of these cranes when they back up, and wipe them out. First the machine, then the guy inside. Swing across and head into the first door, where you'll get a message to head to areas 3 and 6 if you have a wide cannon and rocket launcher, which we do. And the wiretapping will inform you that the garbage dump is in area 9. Unfortunately, this also leads to an ambush, so head straight for the door and kill whoever's in your way. Continue left by swinging across, and then up here so you can get over the crane guy. Then when you drop down here, grab onto the platform and you'll reach the door to the boss, where you get another barrage of attackers. Let the rocket launcher make short work of the main system and the stage is over, and you'll get the pendant, which will protect you from one shot. Next, go to area 3. Slap on the pendant and bring the green communicator. Swing yourself over the quicksand, and then you'll have to run through it for a bit before you can reach the branch. Once you get to land, watch out for when the ground shakes. A man-eating plant pops out of nowhere to take a bite. These huge-ass bugs will show up and shift around. Make sure you're not vertically aligned with them before you start ascending, and then blast once you're level with them. Keep heading up, and be fleet of foot here, because you've got more of these plants. When you encounter these moths, use your grappling hook to take them out, because they'll try to stay above you. Just remember to watch out for the plants in advance when there's an opening. You'll get to a door that takes you inside, take the elevator down slowly, and blast these guys along the way. This one drops as soon as you step on it. Quickly hop off to the door to the communications room, where you'll get the message that they're opening the boss's room for you. And by wiretap, you'll learn that the enemy moved Super Joe to the disposal area. Swing your way to the right, kill this guy, follow the linear path, and when you drop down here, grab on to pull yourself up. Be careful grabbing onto the narrow protrusions. You'll want to swing directly from them rather than landing on the platforms between the spikes. The door to the boss is right after this. It's the same gun thing as before, plus some wall-mounted gun at the end by the main system that fires a 3-way spread shot. The rocket launcher makes short work of this thing. The same thing goes for the main system, so you don't have to be too careful unless you're low on hits. When you finish it off, you'll get the rapid fire device, which lets you fire rapidly with your normal gun by holding down the B button. So now on to area 6. Bring the pendant, it's better than nothing, and the communicator that you bring doesn't matter because there are no radio rooms. These spiked walls will pop out of the pits, wait for the opening before passing, and use one of the posts to climb up here for an extra life. Just keep in mind that you can slip off of this thing. Ascend up the platforms, wipe out everything in sight, particularly these guys that send out these spiked ball drones. If you kill him, it wipes out all the drones that he sent. Once you get to the top, start heading right, kill all these guys, and wait for the opening between the drones to pass through and wipe this prick out. After that, you've got a series of these posts to swing over. If you fall, you're likely gonna land in the water, and you can overshoot the landing too if you're not careful. So do a short jump once you get to the 4th one, and go through the door. Now here you have to swing from these posts all the way to the platform here, so make sure you take a long swing. Climb up, and you'll run into all these rolling spiked balls. Grapple yourself up to get over them, and there won't be too many openings, so you'll have to be tight with your precision. Turns out this dickhead is rolling these things, like it's Donkey Kong or something. Swing your way up onto this tiny platform, because you can't pass through the crates, and wipe him out quickly. You don't have to kill him, but it's way more satisfying. There'll be a couple more of these assholes. Use the gaps where the ceiling is exposed so you can reach up and let the shit past you. And use this platform so you can get up another level. Soon after is the boss, this RoboCop wannabe, although he does seem almost invincible. All he does is throw his own grappling hook at you forward, but it prevents you from getting too close to him. And he's always too close for the main system for you to bypass him and wipe it out. You have to kill him, but nothing seems to work by the front or back of him. But there is a sweet spot. To hit it, swing yourself up and fire a shot to his chest area just on your way up to time it right. Keep yourself at a safe distance from him so you don't get tagged. Remember, he stays in the same spot the whole time. After taking him out, shoot down the system and you'll finish the stage and obtain the permit, which will grant you access to Area 14, which is the neutral zone you'll be heading to next. Make sure you have the permit selected before entering. For some reason, there's a spiked ball popping out of the water. Head past it, and into the first door is the blue communicator. In the next door is a bunch of bullets that will only be on the screen for a short time, so grab as many as you can before heading out, and the exit is right after. Now head to Area 8, and make sure you bring your newly acquired blue communicator. Ascend upward and quickly take out the guys on the platform. There's not a lot of room, so you need to be efficient and time your climb well. When you get to the top, there's a fork in the road. Take the left route, and this gun will wander down the hall, and you have to hit it in this specific area of the gun. Watch the rotation and time it right. Take the elevator to the top floor, and the first door after is a communications room where you'll get confirmation that the disposal area where Super Joe was taken to is Area 9. By wiretap, you'll hear one of the grunts struggling to open a door, and his commander gives him shit for not memorizing the code. Now head back and take the elevator to the second floor, kill the other of these guns, and in the next room is this guy with a grappling hook that'll change his vertical trajectory to the opposite side you are on, and fire off these little shots. Keep your distance, lift yourself up, and time your shots so you fire right before releasing, and you'll maximize your chance of connecting when you cross levels. Then you'll end up in this room with 3 other doors. The bottom door takes you back to the main room, and you'll end up on the right side of that fork from earlier. The door on the right is unnecessary as it just takes you to an alternate route to the other side of the room with the open room connecting to the communications room. You're not missing anything in here. Instead, head up to the top door and you'll get a whole bunch of these drone guys and these blue boys that toss bombs. Watch out for where they land and get level with them quickly so you can take them out. Head through the first door you see for a communications room where you'll get a message that your blue communicator will work in areas 7 and 9. By wiretap, you'll hear from Super Joe himself, who doesn't know specifically where he is, but he is by the ocean. Now head all the way to the upper left-hand corner of the room for another gun hallway. And next up, you'll have to use the moving platform to head up. You'll pass by the first communication room from earlier, head back to the elevator, and that locked door from earlier is now open. I guess it's implied that the commander guy gave his minion the password and you intercepted it. I don't know. Either way, the boss is another barrage of enemies guarding the main system, but some of these guys have shields which make the whole thing a little more of a pain in the ass. Blast whoever's in front of you, try to get around the shield guys, and focus on blasting the system and call it a day. After it's over, you'll get the iron boots, which lets you kick enemies to death. I still much rather prefer the medicine. Now head to neutral zone 19, and this prick will challenge you to a fight. Use the grappling hook to send him backward into the water, because if you fire your gun, the shit hits the fan. In the first door, you've got a room of bullets. Grab as many as you can before they disappear. In the next door, this enemy dares you to shoot him. I don't know if he's taunting you or he is badly wounded and needs a mercy kill. Either way, eliminate the fuck, and then you're done with this area. Now head down to Area 9, and bring the iron boots and the blue communicator. At the beginning, you've got a couple of these grappling hook douches from earlier. Kill them, grab the extra life, and when you get here, head up and go through this first door for a communication, letting you know that the good guys have captured the enemy, and they're trying to interrogate to get info on an underground path, and they ask you to meet them at Area 7 to help them out. By wiretap, you'll learn that you can destroy walls with another type of weapon. Continue upwards, hop on the car as it slides under you, and ride it till you can't get any further and have to hoof it. Scale up the platforms. There's not a lot of room, so you'll have to squeeze in and quickly wipe this guy out. Keep going, and the door to the boss is right after. It's another barrage of enemies with a gun near the main system, all led by a commander who tells you at the outset that Super Joe has been relocated, of course. Mow these guys down, take out the main system, and you'll get a 3-way. Alright. Oh, no, it's just a gun that fires a powerful shot in 3 directions. It's still cool. Now on to Neutral Site 17. In the first door, you'll meet a baddie that talks some trash to you. Swing across the spikes and he'll change his tune and start talking, saying that there are underground paths between 4 and 17, as well as 15 and 18. I guess this is the guy that they said was in Area 7 before. In the next room, you'll find out that Super Joe is a POW in Area 7. Exit the area right after that, and keep in mind if you travel between 4 and 17, you'll land in the enemy terrain and have to do one of these side missions. It is worth it though, because if you complete it, you'll get the helmet, which protects you better than the pendant does. I recommend this option. Either way, next up is Area 7. Equip the 3-way, communicator doesn't matter, swing yourself up, and you'll come across a bunch of these guys in forklifts with guns or some shit. Crouch and fire, and be ready to kill the guy that's still hanging around after the machine is destroyed. Keep climbing upward, and you'll reach these guys in helicopters hovering around and shooting down at you. Stay low and use the 3-way to hit them from underneath. Once you clear a path, head up, swing across these mini platforms, and use the rounded post here to reach to the next batch. Remember that you can easily slip off from here, so act fast. You'll then reach the door to the boss, a rematch with RoboCop. Kill him, take out the main system, and you'll enter a door that leads to Super Joe. Joe says that Kilt is looking to finish off the huge laser cannon project, Albatross, but the one guy that knows how to finish it, Master D, is dead, and Kilt is planning to resurrect him. What the fuck? He tells you to get a machine gun from a guy named Destroyer 3 in Area 18. And that's exactly where you want to go next. It's another neutral zone, and you'll talk to some of these jamokes that ask you if you want a machine gun. Ignore Destroyers 1 and 2, but Destroyer 3 will tell you about a communicator being in between the mountains. Now go into this door, and the machine gun will be waiting for you, and the exit is right after. Now on to Area 10. Make sure you bring the yellow communicator. These guns are mounted underneath the platforms and on the ceiling. Lift yourself up to take them out. When you get here, you have to pull a crazy move by swinging yourself across the spikes, and then swinging yourself out into the air, and then turning to grab a hold of the narrow platform and pulling yourself up. Now you've got a pit that backtracks you, plus a floor of spikes ahead of you. To get by all this shit, get up here and swing yourself from the ceiling and grab onto the platform. When you get here, you'll get a few of these globs running along the floor. Let it carry you, but once you get down here, duck so you don't clip your head on the spike here. And then if you get caught up down here, grab a hold of a platform before you get pulled down into the spikes. You'll hit a door after that where you'll get a message that a guy named Hal will give you a bazooka. And the wiretapping, you just hear 2 guys struggling to blow something up, and then you'll get ambushed. Now this part is a pain in the ass. You have to swing yourself across and land on a moving platform that you're not going to be able to see. Grab onto the ceiling and swing around until the platform comes back so you can swing across and time your jump to land on it, and duck quickly to get under the spike. At the home stretch, you get some of these pricks. Shoot them down, and the door ahead leads to the boss, this gun again. Get rid of it, get rid of the main system, the area is clear, and you get an extra life. Next up, Area 11. Bring the yellow communicator again, and you'll start off swinging right away, as you need to navigate over all the fire. Ignore the moving platforms, they don't take you anywhere. Once you get to land, stay on higher ground as much as you can to avoid the hell below, and watch the springs. You don't want to be guided off into the blaze either, so just be conscientious. When you get to the far wall, use the spring to give you a boost up here, and when you get up top, head right for a communication from Hal, who has your bazooka, but he needs you to blow up areas 10 and 11, so we're almost there, Hal. By wiretapping, you'll hear from these guys that Hal is dangerous and shouldn't be handling the bazooka. Now you've just got a long series of swings to pull off. Grab a hold of the ceiling and keep swinging your way as far as you can see ceiling, and drop back down to land. Then use this spring to give you a little boost to grab this part of the ceiling and keep it swinging until you get to the end. And the boss battle is this Commander Dickhead directing the guns that are mounted on the ceiling. Take him out, kill the main system, and you'll get a bulletproof vest, which is even better protection than the helmet. Now on to Area 12 for the final showdown. Bring the bulletproof vest, the rocket launcher, and the yellow communicator. Head down the elevator, and the door on the right will lead to a communication room where you'll learn from Super Joe that there are 2 barriers that divide the fortress, and destroying the power system will break the barriers. The first barrier that he's talking about is at the bottom of this elevator room. Wiretapping will just confuse some poor bloke. The door on the opposite side will lead to a winding hallway with these electric shock waves that flow across the floors. Wait for them to pass before dropping to the next floor, and quickly hoist yourself up if one is coming at you. Enter the first door and you'll encounter the power system, which is guarded by a gun that fires a 3-way spread shot. Maneuver your way between the bullets and hoist yourself up to blast it. Once it's destroyed, exit back out and continue down until you get to the bottom door. Take out this knucklehead, and now you're at the bottom of the elevator room with the now broken barrier. Take the next elevator down and enter the second door, which leads to a communication room, where Super Joe says he's taking out the main power source, giving you the mission to take out the leader and escape. Go back through the first door and you're in another winding room, this time with a rolling barrel on top of the sparks. Use the hook to get out of everything's way, and enter the first door where you're in one of the boss rooms and you have to take out the shield guy again. Head back out and continue to the door to the next power system room, where this time you have to thwart off these fucks. After taking it out, backtrack to the elevator and take it to the bottom, where you'll bypass the second barrier and encounter a long row of spikes. Swing yourself across it and enter the door where you'll meet Kilt, who doesn't need Master D revived anymore since the Albatross has been completed, but it's too late. Master D manages to kill Kilt via electricity, and then rises out of the chamber to, oh shit, it's Hitler. He's back with a vengeance to rule the world again, and busts out the Albatross. This thing fires out flames from its engines, and that's pretty much it. Your target is this orange area up here. To get there, you have to hoist yourself up to the roof and then spam blast, but you have to watch out for the flame on the side. So time your entry point where that flame first retracts, and fire off a few shots, retreat, and head back up until you destroy it. You'll then reach Hal, who is dying. I guess he really fucked up that whole bazooka thing, and gives you his bazooka to go finish Hitler, Master D. He advises you to aim at the cockpit of the chopper. Swing yourself down and time your shot to hit the cockpit, and you only get one shot, because when you land down here after you miss, you can't reach anymore and you're guaranteed to die. There's nothing to grab onto to get up higher. After successfully connecting, you get a close-up of Hitler's face exploding. It's very satisfying to see him die a second time, and now you've got a minute to escape. Ascend quickly and don't stop to fight RoboCop. You don't have time for this shit. Slip past him and keep swinging. He'll try to rope you in with his grappling hook. Grab a hold of the other platform before he can, and keep heading up until you get out. You can't bear to leave Super Joe behind, so you run back in and the place blows up. But it's revealed that he escaped with Super Joe just in time, and that his name is Lad, and the credits roll. It sounds like this is setting up to be a big franchise, continuing to explore Lad as the greatest soldier of all time, like Solid Snake in the Metal Gear universe, but we wouldn't get a direct sequel until 2009's Bionic Commando. Yeah, there were alternate versions and remakes of the game on Game Boy and Game Boy Color, but this should have been a mainstay during the 2D platform era. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, it wasn't. But that is what it is, and that'll wrap up this game, and wrap up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.